So I'd like to welcome you all tonight. Thank you so much for coming out. My name is Melissa DeSorda, and I'm actually a fellow resident here in Pittsford. I wanted to first and foremost say some thank yous that made this evening possible. I need to get my list because I don't want to miss anyone. First and foremost, I want to thank Baird and Bessie Morgan for providing this opportunity for our community. The Village Farm Working Group, who's been working on this since February. Let's see, those. Furnace Brook Wesleyan Church is actually providing childcare for us this evening over at the Blue House. Kamuta's Market has been a vital member of this process. Bothorpe Elementary School, the McClure Library, the Vermont Council on Rural Development, and Winning Image Graphics. If you look around the room, a very special thank you needs to go out to Todd Houston, who is our art teacher here at Lathrop, and he worked with his students so that they could have a voice this evening in providing what their vision was for the Village Farm. So if you have time this evening, I highly encourage you to take a look around the room, and there's also more downstairs as to what our future of Pittsburgh has for a vision for the farm. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Jenna Kowalski, who is actually going to be our MC this evening.
And just maybe a quick round of applause for Melissa, who's really pulled this whole thing together with a working group in town and who invited us to be here. So thank you to you. And thank you to all of you for being here. It's really inspiring to be in a room full of people who are ready to think about the future of their community. I'm Jenna Kowalski, and I'm the Community and Policy Manager with the Vermont Council on Rural Development. I'm here with Paul Costello as well, who is the Executive Director of the Council on Rural Development. He'll be facilitating a forum later on, and you'll be hearing from him later in the evening. We were invited to come here and are excited to be here to work in support of Pittsford. We're invited by the Village Farm Working Group, really to just help to lead a neutral platform for discussion and to help to facilitate this conversation in support of the work that you have to do to think about the future of the Village Farm. So, we're neutral facilitators, the Vermont Council on Rural Development. We work in support of communities all across the state as a convener of public process, from Jay to Manchester to Rutland to Newport, Berks and Johnsbury, over 60 towns across the state. We've convened processes much like this, where towns come together, engage in a community discussion, think about all the ideas that could benefit the future of their community, and then line up behind priorities, and we help them to connect to resources to get those things done. So when we work with the town, we'll bring state leaders, federal leaders, philanthropic leaders, nonprofits to come and work with the community and help them take next steps for the future of their town. We don't know what's best for any community that we work with. We certainly don't know what's best for Pittsford. We don't have any agenda or idea what should happen with the future of the Village Farm. But what we know and what we really truly believe in is the power of community and the power of when people come together and decide on, there's all kinds of things that we can do for our town, but here's the thing that we're going to work on together now. And when you find those things that the community is passionate about, and then line up behind them, rally energy, rally volunteers, and then connect to those tools and resources that you might need to get them done. There's a lot of power in that, and we see towns succeeding in that kind of work every day. And it's inspiring to get to do the job that we do, because we see that communities, when they rally together like that, can really get things done. So we're excited to be here to be part of your conversation, and that's really what we're here to do tonight. Pittsford has a really exciting opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity. When we work with communities all across the state, they're saying, what are the ways that we can bring vibrancy to our village centers? What are the ways that we can have more gathering spaces, that the people in our town can come together and get to know each other? What are the ways we can improve, bring businesses to town, to improve recreation? They're thinking of all these different ways to improve the quality of life for the future of their town. And there's all kinds of barriers. There's money, and there's the space, and there's a lot of things that can get in the way. But here, you have this incredible opportunity that there is a property that's available, and there's two people who've invested in this community, and they have taken that lead, but they're turning to you now to say, what do we want to do with this property? What do you see when you think about the future of that space and the future of that space as a part of the Village Center in Pittsford? It's a real exciting opportunity to put on the table and to discuss. So tonight, we're here to brainstorm. So that's our task for the evening. Oh, do I lose? Can you hear me if I'm... Yeah. Okay. So tonight, our task is here to brainstorm, and I'm going to really quickly run through the agenda, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brian so we can get a little bit more of the detail and some background, so we're all kind of starting from the same page. But the task for tonight, we're going to do a little bit of hear a little bit of background. I'll kind of do a rundown of the structure of the evening, and then we're going to break up into 3 different groups, and we're just going to put ideas on the table. And tonight's really not about kind of arguing back and forth on what's really best and what are we going to do and how are we going to do it and where's the money going to come from and that kind of thing. That's all going to come, that critical conversation. But tonight's about just getting those ideas up on the wall and listing in those 3 different topic areas. We'll come back together at the end to do a quick closing. And the goal is to take those ideas that we brainstormed tonight, to review them. We're going to do a bit of a cluster analysis of them to bring back to you next month, and that'll be the chance to really, in more detail, work through these ideas and think about the priorities for Pittsford. So that's the plan for tonight. Before we get into logistics, I'm going to, where's Brian? Oh, I'm going to turn it over to Brian Camuto really quick to just give us 5 or 10 minutes of a quick background about the property and the vision for this evening. Do you need a microphone or anything?
It should be okay.
Okay.
So my planner, I was going to introduce the next 2 hours. I'm going through. Absolutely. Well, good evening. My name is Brian Camuto. I recently moved back to town. I grew up here. Right from Camuto's Market, most of you guys. So I'm super excited to be back here and to coincide with some kind of project like this as an opportunity. It's really exciting. I'm a 3rd generation person in this community. There's folks that have been here for 100 years, over 100 years with their family. There's some folks that just moved back, and there's some that are thinking about moving here. I think it's pretty exciting about growing their families for the next 100 years. So tonight, we're kind of thinking about what's the mindset, an open mind. We're in a school, having that childlike imagination, be able to have no reservations. I think some really amazing things can come out of that. So I'm tasked with kind of just give a little bit of a background of how we got here tonight. So we had a work group that had been assembled, that kind of initial brainstorming, getting some initial thoughts and ideas and organizing this event over the last couple of months. We've been meeting and kind of be able to get into 3 categories that we've got kind of narrowed down. This work group is amazing. Like the work ethic, the ideas, the imagination, the openness. I think you guys will be very interested to kind of build upon that tonight. So the origin of this project dates back to the 1990s, believe it or not. And this was news to me as I was part of this group learning about it. As this area, this property, was really identified as a key potential area for a town center, for something happening in town. The post office, the library, the town green, businesses. It's basically kind of there's no stoplights here in town, but this is considered a center of town, so it made sense. The property was acquired last spring to preserve for the benefit of the town, to hold this property, make sure that the town can benefit from it. There are no preconceived ideas for the utilization. So the meeting tonight is really dispelling any rumors that something's happening, it's already in motion, that's really not the case. And as the owners really aren't, they're not developers, they're looking to us, that's why we're here. So the preference is to preserve the beauty of this property. Are you guys familiar with the property? It's been my neighbor for most of my life. It's amazing. The scape is beautiful. The barn, it's classic Vermont. So it's one of the areas that they've asked to kind of keep within scope is that the recreational opportunity be preserved so that the property will add to the social and economic vitality of our community. The property and historic houses be viewed and utilized as community assets. One hope is not to really have any large-scale development. Probably not going to have a 50,000-seat NFL stadium moving in. We've had some actions to date. You may, if you've driven by, you noticed that some of the old sheds have been taken down, the roof's been impacted and preserved, installed. So they've done some work on the property, and with the assistance of the Preservation Trust of Vermont, engineering and architectural assessments have been conducted on both the house and the barn. And the neat thing, if you guys are hikers, the Pittsford Trail, the Cadwell Trail, actually now loops up to the Pittsford Village Farm Trail. So a really neat recreational opportunity now. Back in September, we had an ice cream social. Similar size group, about 100, 200 people showed up. Again, to kind of spearhead some ideas, walk the property, enjoy it, and some ideas that's kind of got to where we are today. Just a quick note, just some personal thoughts around this. I mean, it's exciting for me. Obviously, you guys have a busy schedule. You guys showed up. This is something that's important to you guys. The three areas, recreational opportunities. I think Vermont's been viewed as this recreational paradise. And we see cyclists, hikers, downhill skiers. We're part of Killington Valley. A lot of opportunities there. Educational, for me personally, the connection here being in school, to have an ability for multiple generations to connect. Folks that have been in this community for a while, that are entrepreneurs, that have a trade and a craft, that can connect with students, can connect with younger folks, pass those trades along, pass those values along. Town promotion is a big part of this. Put us on the map. My personal thoughts are, if we can have some element of it as a destination. Pittsford is an unbelievable town, and to create something that can have folks, an element, this is a very dynamic property. Remember, it's 15 acres, something that's going to encourage folks, come for an hour, visit for an afternoon, stay for a weekend, something like that, for folks that can promote our town, increase the vitality, and really add a lot of value to the folks that are here. So, and an economic development. This is an opportunity. There are so many entrepreneurs in this community. When I was away, I'd always boast about the strong entrepreneurial spirit of Vermont. There is something special. There's not corporations here that you're the vice president. You have to start your own thing. You have to be outgoing, eager, and I think we can capitalize on that in some capacities. So I'd say tonight, in closing, and before I pass on to Jenna, the ball's on our court. This is truly a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Allow the artwork around here to really inspire you. There's a couple ways to look at creative thinking. One is a yes but mentality, where yes, but here's an objection. It's kind of close-minded, and it suppresses some ideas. And there's a yes and. So yes and expand on it. Sometimes it expands to the ridiculousness, but I'm willing to take a risk. So I look forward to being a part of this. I really think the diverse perspectives are really unique here. Folks that have been in this town for a long time, and folks that have just moved here that can really do it. And a phrase that, where I used to work, was, why not us? Why not now? So, Dana, we'll rock it up.
All right, we don't need it. Okay, so the plan for this evening. So right now, we're going to be breaking up into 3 different breakout sessions. So we mentioned a couple of times now, there's been a working group that's come together from all different parts of the community, and they identified 3 different areas of focus for the evening. And you'll have 2 chances to have conversations in those 3 different areas. So the areas will be housing. What are the gaps and needs in Pittsford around housing now? What are the things that you'd like to see for the future of housing in Pittsford? Economic development, business, and agriculture. Are there ideas in this arena that you'd like to see on that property? Are there business opportunities? Are there job opportunities? Are there agriculture, farming opportunities? So that's one group to visit and to think about. recreational, educational, and social opportunities. Are there trails that you'd like to see or other recreation opportunities that you'd like to see for Pittsford? So those are the three different topic areas. We'll be breaking out the housing group. If you're interested in talking about housing on the Village Farm, you're going to meet in the corner back here. The group that is going to be focusing on economic development, business, and agriculture opportunities, I think is going to be in the corner over here. We're going to just shift chairs over this way. And then recreational, educational, and social opportunities, if you're interested in that discussion, you'll be heading with Paul Costello downstairs in the cafeteria to meet. So we'll break into those three groups. We only have a half an hour in each of those groups, so it's a lot to get done in a short amount of time. And so you'll have a facilitator in your group who's going to keep things on track. Our role is to make sure that we're meeting our task for the night, which is to complete a list of ideas. Complete a list of concrete ideas of what you'd like to see, what are the gaps and the needs in Pittsford, what would you like to see on the Village Farm property for the future. So at the end of the half an hour, at 7, folks, a couple more minutes before we move off into individual conversations. At 7:05, we're going to switch, we're going to transition, so you'll have the opportunity to go to a different topic. If you were talking about housing, but you also want to talk about recreation, you'll have a 5-minute switch. We'll have a half an hour in that conversation, and then we are going to gather back here at the end. So your facilitators will let you know when the time's up. We'll wrap up back here, and we'll have a few words of closing, and then we'll head off for the night and be ready to come back in February to set priorities. So remember, one more time. Oh, and the directional. So if you're heading downstairs, you can head off this way to go to the recreation conversation, and when you come back, you're going to circle up this way. So we'll have folks kind of directing you so we don't have any traffic jams on the way up. So thank you very much. Excited to have this conversation with you all. Housing, economic, business, agriculture, and downstairs for the recreation, educational, and social opportunities. All right, who else has ideas? Can everyone hear me okay without the microphone? Well, thank you so much for coming out, for sharing your ideas. You know, Paul says this all the time, but we really have some of the best jobs in Vermont, that we get to go out and work with communities and be here in support of communities that are on the move, and people like you that are willing to devote your Thursday evening to being here, to talking about the future prosperity of your community. You know, it's really fundamental to democracy and to community life and to what makes us strong as Vermonters and Vermont communities. So thank you for being here to do that. Just a reminder that we're going to take all of the notes from tonight, we're going to type them up, do kind of an analysis and look at, you know, where are these ideas adding up, what things connect, and what are the big ideas that we can bring back to you. And what's the date for the next?
February 8th.
February 8th is the date for the next meeting. We'll come back here, correct? Review those ideas together and select some priorities that we can share with Betsy and Barrett and say, you know, here's what we feel that we need in Pittsburgh to improve the quality of life and realize our vision for the future. So I'm going to really quickly turn it over to Paul to say a few words of closing, and then we'll...
So could we have a big round of applause for the listeners?
It wasn't a one-woman show. It was absolutely a team effort, and I've had an amazing team to work with. So really, thank you to our entire working group. Thank you.
support and food, to Jana for the work pulling this together. So I just want to share an observation. My mom's from Pittsford. She grew up across the street from Kamuta's. My grandfolks are buried out here, out back. My mom ran through these halls as a child. When I come to Pittsford, it feels like real old home. My aunt went over to Kamuta's every day, and it was her home base. It was her community center. And here you are. We think about history being something that happened long ago, but you're making history today. The thing that's special about Vermont is in a world that is torn, where the fabric of what we stand for is questioned, where democracy is an uncertainty, we stand together, we come together, and we make things happen. I want to thank Baird and Betsy Morgan. What an amazing... I was involved in just 2 of the 6 sessions that went on. I can just imagine the great ideas on the others. You think about all those ideas, and every idea is an idea that is not going to happen because of Washington, D.C., and it's not going to happen because of Montpelier. It's going to happen because you're going to say, we can do this one. And if we line up together to do this one, we're going to make it happen. And not only are we going to get all the benefits from that, but we're going to know our neighbors better. We're going to have a stronger fabric. We're going to have an atmosphere in the town of Pittsburgh that we're on the rise, that we're making progress, that we are taking power to make a better community for the future. So I can't share how deeply moved I am by this. The people who turned out, you're standing for something, and you should be really proud of your community. And thank you for letting us be part of it.
On your way out, and don't forget to check out the artwork from our amazing kids in our community as well. And we hope to see you all back here on February 8th. I think there was a little sign sheet if you want to stay informed. Make sure you fill it out. It's like a half piece of paper. Make sure you fill it out, and we've got boxes in the back. And thank you again.